This is Lucas Orsvan from Wolfire Games. In this video I'll show the changes for Overgrowth Alpha 227, which you can try if you've pre-ordered. In this alpha, we included a port of our old rabbit game Lugaru into the Overgrowth engine. This gave us a chance to focus on how the Overgrowth mechanics work in the context of existing levels, and make sure they work well and create interesting gameplay situations. The player starts almost every level in the Lugaru story with a knife, so we focused on adding more variety to the knife attacks. One of the most distinctive features of both Lugaru and Overgrowth is how easily weapons change hands. So we started by bringing back the disarm mechanic. If you dodge a weapon attack, you can follow up with a shoulder throw that leaves you in possession of the victim's weapon. We increased the accuracy of the throwing knife, but lowered its range, and made enemies make a lot of noise when they get stuck by one. In combat, adrenaline can sometimes allow enemy rabbits to keep fighting with weapons stuck in them, but you can finish them off by twisting it out again when you throw your opponent. Wolves are fearsome enemies, and the tactics you use to fight a rabbit should be very different than those used to fight wolves. To that end, we're experimenting with making them only vulnerable to jump kicks and weapon attacks. This is intended to make fighting them more intense and satisfying, even in a one-on-one encounter. Fights used to have a tendency to feel random. They would sometimes end quickly and unexpectedly, making it feel like you didn't have enough control over the outcome of the fight. This was especially problematic in boss fights, which would sometimes end with a single lucky hit. To fix this, David implemented what we call a knockout shield, which prevents characters from taking blunt damage until they've been knocked off their feet a set number of times. This is disabled by default, but you can experiment with it in the character parameters, and we used it pretty often in the Lugaru campaign port. It can be hard to tell in a fight how much damage you're taking or how much health you have left. To improve feedback in these areas, the screen now flashes when you take damage, and there is a vignette effect to give you a rough idea of how much health you have left. Fights are the most important part of Overgrowth, so we want to reward your victories by making the end of each fight feel as satisfying as possible. That's why we're reintroducing the slow motion kill. When the last active enemy is killed, the game goes into slow motion for a short time to signal the end of the fight. These changes to the combat, AI, visual feedback and so on all come together to make the game much more fun to play. We hope you'll try it out and give us your feedback. As a step towards making the game feel more polished and pleasing to the eye, we've improved the graphics with new snow and lava shaders, and improved versions of several existing assets. Antone has created a bunch of new music for the Lugaru campaign. And of course, we've kept working to improve the performance and compatibility of the game. Our tools are not only important for us to be able to make the game, but also for those of you who want to make levels and mods. As always, all of the tools we use to port the Lugaru campaign over are included, in case you would like to use them. We've updated the wiki to reflect the changes to the editor. Check out the full changelog for links to the updated articles. That's it for this video. If you'd like to pre-order and try the alpha for yourself, and get a free copy of Receiver and Lowlight Combat, you can do that at wolfire.com/preorder. If you'd like to hear about development news as soon as it happens, you can follow us on Twitter @Wolfire.